First Contact Fallout. Captain Sarah Chen stood at the observation deck of the DSV Hawking, Earth's most advanced deep space research vessel, watching the unfamiliar ship drift silently against the backdrop of Saturn's rings. The alien vessel's silvery hull reflected the distant sunlight, its organic curves a stark contrast to humanity's angular ship designs. 3 hours ago, they had intercepted its distress signal, humanity's first confirmation that they weren't alone in the universe. "Status update," she called out, her voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. Dr. Marcus Rodriguez, the ship's xenolinguist, looked up from his console. "The signal patterns are becoming clearer, Captain. It's definitely a mathematical sequence. Prime numbers, to be specific. Whoever they are, they're trying to establish basic communication." The bridge crew worked with practiced efficiency, but Chen could sense their underlying tension. Humanity had prepared for this moment for centuries, yet now that it was here, the weight of responsibility felt overwhelming. One wrong move could affect the future of human-alien relations forever. "Dr. Rodriguez, prepare the response sequence we discussed. Lieutenant Park, maintain our current position, but keep the engines hot. Commander Williams, status of the emergency response team. Ready in the hangar bay, Captain. Medical team is prepped for potential xenobiological concerns, and security is armed with non-lethal options only," Williams reported, his hand unconsciously touching the pulse pistol at his hip. Chen nodded, appreciating her crew's professionalism. They had drilled for first contact scenarios, but reality had a way of throwing curveballs. The alien ship's design suggested a civilization far more advanced than humanity's, yet here they were, responding to their distress call. "Captain," Lieutenant Park's voice cut through her thoughts, "I'm detecting energy fluctuations from their ship. They're attempting to power up their systems." Before Chen could respond, a holographic projection materialized in the center of the bridge. The image resolved into a tall, ethereal figure with iridescent skin and multiple pairs of eyes arranged in a symmetric pattern. Its movements seemed to flow like liquid mercury. The alien spoke, its words translated by their AI system with a slight delay. "Gratitude extends to the responders. We are the Lycerin, and we find ourselves in an unfortunate position." Chen stepped forward, maintaining eye contact with the hologram. "I am Captain Sarah Chen of the Deep Space Vessel Hawking, representing humanity and Earth. We stand ready to assist." The Lycerin's eyes shifted in a pattern that suggested interest. "Your response is unexpected. Our records indicated this system housed only primitive civilizations. We must update our data. However, our current situation is dire. Our quantum drive suffered a catastrophic failure while exploring this system. Without assistance, our ship's containment systems will fail within your world's 48 hours. The implications hit Chen like a physical force. A quantum drive failure could potentially create a localized space-time distortion that would threaten not just both ships, but potentially the entire Saturn system. Yet helping meant potentially sharing advanced technology with an unknown species, a decision that went far beyond her authority as a captain. "Our engineers are among humanity's finest," Chen replied carefully. "We would need to understand more about your systems to determine how we can help safely." The Lycerin's form shimmed slightly. "Time grows short, Captain Chen. We must either trust each other now or part ways, knowing that our destruction could harm your system. Will humanity extend its hand to the stars, or will it turn away in fear?" Chen felt the weight of history pressing down on her shoulders. This wasn't just about saving lives anymore. It was humanity's first test on the galactic stage. She thought about all the stories of first contact she'd read growing up, all the ways humanity had imagined this moment. Now it was her turn to write that story. She straightened her uniform and made her decision. "Commander Williams, assemble the engineering team. Dr. Rodriguez, you'll accompany them to facilitate communication. Lieutenant Park, begin calculating emergency quantum containment scenarios with our eye." The Lycerin's eyes arranged themselves in what she hoped was approval. Your species shows remarkable adaptation to unexpected circumstances, Captain Chen. Perhaps there is hope for a meaningful exchange between our peoples. As her crew rushed to their assignments, Chen allowed herself a small smile. Humanity had dreamed of the stars for millennia, and now they had a chance to prove themselves worthy of them. The next 48 hours would determine not just the fate of two ships, but potentially the future of human-alien relations. The real work was just beginning, and time was already running out. The alliance forged. 26 hours into the crisis, Chief Engineer Maya Patel stood in the DSV Hawking's engine room, surrounded by holographic representations of the Lysarin quantum drive. Her hands moved through the projections with practiced precision, manipulating equations she barely understood but somehow felt right. Beside her, the Lysarin engineer, who had introduced himself as Nexus, watched with all six eyes widened in what she hoped was approval. "Your solution is unorthodox," Nexus commented, his translated voice carrying a hint of fascination. "Using your primitive fusion reactors to stabilize our quantum matrix should be impossible, yet your calculations suggest otherwise." Maya wiped sweat from her forehead, refusing to be baited by the word primitive. "Sometimes the simplest solutions work best. Your quantum drive operates on principles we're only beginning to understand, but energy is energy. If we can match the resonance frequency." Her explanation was cut short by the ship-wide alert system. Captain Chen's voice filled the engine room. "All hands, battle stations. Unknown vessels have just emerged from FTL at the edge of our sensor range. Lysarin Command confirms they are not friendly." Nexus's iridescent skin pulsed with what Maya had learned to recognize as concern. "The swarm. They must have detected our drive failure. They are scavengers who prey on disabled ships, stripping them of technology, and leaving their crews to die." Maya's mind raced through the implications. The Hawking was a research vessel with minimal weapons, and the Lysarin ship was crippled. They were sitting ducks. In the command center, Captain Chen watched the tactical display with growing concern. The approaching ships moved with an unsettling synchronization, their black hulls absorbing rather than reflecting light. Initial scans showed them to be heavily armed and definitely hostile. "How many?" she asked Lieutenant Park. 7 vessels, Captain. Their energy signatures suggest weapons far beyond our capabilities." The Lysarin captain's hologram appeared on the bridge. "Captain Chen, we must abandon our repair efforts. The swarm shows no mercy. Save your ship while you can." Chen's jaw tightened. "With all due respect, that's not how humanity operates. Lieutenant Park, send an emergency quantum burst to Earth Command. Commander Williams, deploy our experimental shield drones. Dr. Rodriguez, we need to coordinate with the Lysarin crew." The next few hours became a blur of activity. Maya and Nexus worked frantically to get the quantum drive stable enough for at least a short jump. Meanwhile, the human crew demonstrated why their species had survived countless disasters on Earth. They repurposed research equipment into makeshift weapons. Shield drones, designed for protecting against solar radiation during scientific studies, were networked together to create a defensive screen. The ship's powerful sensors, meant for detecting subatomic particles, were modified to track enemy weapon signatures. The swarm ships approached in attack formation, clearly not expecting any resistance from what they saw as easy prey. Their first volley of energy weapons splashed against the improvised drone shield, weakening but not breaking it. "They're charging weapons for another attack," Park reported. "Shield drone network at 60% capacity." Chen opened a channel to engineering. "Maya, we need options." "Captain, we've got something." Maya's voice crackled through the comm. "It's crazy, but Nexus agrees it might work. We can use the partial quantum field from their drive to enhance our conventional weapons. The physics are sound, even if we've never tried anything like this before." Chen didn't hesitate. "Do it. Williams, prepare to concentrate all firepower on my mark." The swarm ships launched their second attack, their confidence evident in their tight formation. They didn't expect the human vessel's relatively primitive projectile weapons to pose any threat. They were wrong. When the Hawking fired, its railgun rounds were wrapped in quantum fields that bent spacetime around them. The projectiles struck with the force of small nuclear weapons, their effects amplified by the quantum enhancement. Two swarm ships erupted in silent explosions, their advanced hulls unable to cope with the laws of physics being rewritten around them. The remaining swarm vessels broke formation, their synchronized movement dissolving into chaos. They hadn't expected this level of resistance, especially not from a species they'd dismissed as technologically inferior. "They're retreating," Park announced, unable to keep the pry from his voice. "FTL signatures detected. They're running." A moment of stunned silence fell over the bridge, broken by the Lyceran captain's hologram flickering to life. "In all our records, no species has ever driven off the swarm in their first encounter. Humanity continues to surprise us." Chen allowed herself a small smile. "We're full of surprises. Now let's get back to fixing that quantum drive. I have a feeling we have a lot to learn from each other." The Lyceran captain's eyes arranged themselves in what Chen now recognized as their equivalent of a smile. "Indeed, perhaps it is we who have been primitive, Captain Chen. We assumed technological advancement was the only measure of civilization. You have shown us that innovation, courage, and determination can overcome any technological gap." As the crew returned to their repair efforts, Chen couldn't help but feel that this was just the beginning. Humanity had proven itself not just capable of reaching the stars, but worthy of joining the galactic community. They had faced their first real test among the stars and passed with flying colors. But in the back of her mind, she knew the swarm wouldn't forget this defeat. They would return, and next time they wouldn't underestimate humanity. The real challenge was just beginning. Operation Starfall. 3 months after the swarm encounter, the DSV Hawking had become the center of an unprecedented joint military operation. The ship's hangar bay, normally home to research pods and sample collection drones, now housed a mix of human and Lyceran technology. Captain Chen watched from the observation deck as engineers from both species worked to integrate their systems. "The quantum-enhanced weaponry tests are exceeding expectations," Commander Williams reported, standing beside her. "The Lyceran are particularly impressed with how quickly we adapted their technology." "And concerned," Chen added, noting the subtle way the Lyceran engineers kept glancing at their human counterparts. "They're still trying to understand how we went from basic spaceflight to quantum physics in 3 months." "To be fair, Captain, so am I," Maya Patel's voice came from behind them. The chief engineer had dark circles under her eyes, but her expression was animated. "What we're doing shouldn't be possible. The Lyceran spent centuries developing quantum technology. We're basically hot-wiring it." Before Chen could respond, the ship's AI announced an incoming transmission from Earth Command. The holographic display showed Admiral Hassan, his expression grave. "Captain Chen, the swarm has made their move. They've attacked 3 mining outposts in the Kuiper Belt. No survivors. But this time they left a message. Surrender all Lyceran technology, or they'll escalate." Chen's jaw tightened. The swarm hadn't just returned. They'd evolved their tactics. "They're trying to drive a wedge between us and the Lyceran." "Correct." A new voice joined the conversation as Nexus entered the room, his iridescent skin pulsing with concern. "This is a common swarm strategy. They exploit divisions between allies, then strike when they're separated. We've seen it countless times. But they've never dealt with humans before," Maya interjected, her eyes bright with an idea. "Captain, remember how we modified their quantum drive? We weren't thinking like them. We thought like humans. That's our advantage." Admiral Hassan leaned forward. "Explain, Chief Patel." Maya pulled up a holographic display of the swarm ship's energy signatures from their previous encounter. "The swarm operates like a hive mind. Their ships move in perfect synchronization. Their weapons fire in precise patterns. It's incredibly effective and incredibly predictable. Chen finished, seeing where Maya was going. They're not used to enemies who improvise. Over the next hour, a plan took shape. The combined human-Lysaran fleet would appear to fracture, making the swarm think their strategy was working. But this division would be a carefully choreographed deception. 2 weeks later, Operation Starfall began. The swarm detected apparent discord in the alliance, with human ships seemingly withdrawing from Lysaran space. As predicted, they launched a massive attack against what they perceived as isolated Lysaran forces. They didn't expect the quantum mines. Maya's team had modified simple mining charges with Lysaran quantum technology, but instead of using it as designed, they'd created what she called quantum anchors. When the swarm fleet passed through the minefield, the devices activated. Multiple quantum field activations detected. Lieutenant Park reported from his station. "Swarm vessels are. They're stuck, Captain. The quantum anchors are preventing them from achieving the synchronization they need for coordinated movement." Chen allowed herself a grim smile, like birds flying into a net. "Now, Commander Williams." The human fleet emerged from hiding, their ships equipped with the hybrid weapons developed over the past months. But instead of firing in organized salvos as the swarm expected, each ship captain had been given autonomy to engage as they saw fit. The result was chaos for the swarm. Unable to predict the humans' erratic attack patterns and trapped by the quantum anchors, their perfectly coordinated fleet fell into disarray. Ships collided trying to evade the quantum-enhanced weapons coming at them from seemingly random vectors. "The Lysaran fleet is in position," Williams announced. "They're engaging from the far side." The swarm found themselves caught between two forces: the methodical, precisely targeted attacks of the Lysaran and the unpredictable, aggressive style of the humans. It was a combination they had never encountered and had no protocol to counter. "Enemy ships are attempting emergency FTL jumps," Park reported. "But the quantum anchors are destabilizing their drives." They're surrendering, Captain." A cheer went up from the bridge crew, but Chen kept her focus. "Signal the Lysaran flagship. Have containment teams ready. I want those ships secured before they try something desperate." Hours later, as cleanup operations began, Chen stood in a conference room with Nexus and several other Lysaran commanders. The alien skin rippled with what she now recognized as excitement. "Your species continues to amaze us," Nexus said. "You took our most advanced technology and used it in ways we never imagined, ways that by our understanding should not have worked." "Humans have a saying," Chen replied. "Necessity is the mother of invention. We've survived on Earth by adapting, by finding unconventional solutions to impossible problems. Now we're just doing the same thing among the stars." Perhaps one of the other Lysaran commanders interjected, "This is why the swarm feared us working together." They recognized that human creativity combined with Lysaran technology would be unstoppable. As Chen looked out at the captured swarm vessels, she knew this victory would change everything. Humanity had proven they weren't just capable of using advanced technology. They could innovate with it in ways that even its creators hadn't considered. The galaxy would never be the same. But in the depths of space, beyond the sensor's range, something was stirring. The swarm was just one of many threats lurking in the darkness between stars, and humanity's emergence on the galactic stage had not gone unnoticed. The silent edge. Deep in the captured swarm flagship's data core, Dr. Marcus Rodriguez found something that made his blood run cold. The xenolinguist had been decoding the swarm's communications for weeks, but this message was different. He immediately contacted Captain Chen. "They're not the real threat," he explained, projecting the decoded data. "The swarm was running from something they called the Void Hunters." Chen studied the alien text, her expression grim. "What exactly are we looking at, Doctor?" "The swarm is aggressive, yes, but they're scavengers. These Void Hunters, they're exterminators. They locate emerging spacefaring civilizations and eliminate them. According to this data, They'd been systematically cleansing entire sectors of space for millennia. The briefing room fell silent. Maya Patel, who had been modifying more quantum technology, spoke first. "Why haven't the Lyceran mentioned them?" "Because we've never encountered them," Nexus answered, his hologram flickering into existence. "We've heard rumors, whispers of civilizations that vanish without trace. But nothing concrete. We thought they were myths." Chen's mind raced through the implications. The swarm's attack wasn't just about technology. They were desperate for resources to escape the hunters. And now we're in their path. Intelligence suggested the Void Hunters had a forward base hidden in the Oort cloud, gathering data on Earth's defenses. A direct assault would be suicide. Their stealth technology was too advanced. But Maya had an idea that was just crazy enough to work. "We can't beat their stealth tech," she explained, "but we can use it against them. The quantum field generators we captured from the swarm, we can modify them to create a sort of quantum mirror." Commander Williams raised an eyebrow. "A mirror?" "More like a quantum echo chamber," Maya continued. "Their stealth systems work by bending space-time around their ships. If we can reflect that effect back at them, they'll be trapped in their own stealth field." Nexus finished, his skin pulsing with excitement. "Brilliant. But delivering such a device would require a small team to infiltrate their base," Chen concluded. "A suicide mission." "Not necessarily," Maya countered. "We've learned enough about quantum fields to create a short-term phase shift. A small team could exist slightly out of sync with normal spacetime, nearly invisible, but only for about 6 hours before the field collapses." And so Operation Shadow Step was born. The team would be small. Maya to handle the quantum technology, Lieutenant Park for his sensor expertise, 2 Lysaran specialists, and Commander Williams leading the tactical element. They approached the Void Hunter base in a modified shuttle, its systems running cold. The quantum phase shift made them almost invisible, but one mistake would doom the mission. The base itself was a dark mass against the backdrop of ice and rock, its surface seeming to drink in light. "Something's wrong," Park whispered, studying his sensors. "These readings, the base isn't just hidden. It's partially phased into another dimension." Maya nodded grimly. "They're not just advanced. They're operating on principles we barely understand. But that might work in our favor. They won't expect what we're about to do." The team infiltrated through a maintenance airlock, their phase-shifted state allowing them to pass through the outer defenses. Inside, they found architecture that defied physics, corridors that seemed to fold in on themselves, and technology that made even the Lysaran equipment look primitive. They reached the central core, where Maya began setting up the quantum mirror device. That's when they saw them, the Void Hunters. Tall, skeletal figures that seemed to flicker in and out of existence, their movements leaving trails in reality itself. "They're not fully in our dimension," Maya whispered, her hands steady as she worked. "They exist partially in what they call the void. That's why they hunt. They believe all fully dimensional life is an aberration." Alarm blared. Impossible sounds that hurt human ears and made the Lysaran team members' skin pulse erratically. They'd been detected. "Maya," Williams urged, raising his quantum-enhanced rifle. "Nearly there," she muttered. "The field has to be perfect, or—" The first Void Hunter appeared at the end of the corridor, its form shifting and twisting as it moved. Williams fired, but the quantum rounds passed through it like smoke. "They're shifting their dimensional phase faster than we can target," Park reported, his sensor unit smoking from the attempt to track them. "Done," Maya announced. She slammed the activation key, and reality seemed to hiccup. The quantum mirror activated, creating a cascading field of reflected dimensional phases. The Void Hunters froze, caught in their own dimensional shifting. Their forms began to fragment as they were trapped between phases of reality. "Run," Williams ordered. The team sprinted back through the corridors as the base began to tear itself apart, trapped in a loop of dimensional reflections. They barely made it to the shuttle before their phase shift began to fail. Behind them, the Void Hunter base imploded, collapsing into a quantum singularity that quickly evaporated into nothingness. Hours later, back on the Hawking, Maya explained what had happened. Their technology was so advanced, it was their weakness. They were so used to shifting between dimensions that they never considered someone could trap them between shifts. We used their own nature against them. Chen smiled. Like a mirror maze, but with reality itself. Humanity may be new to the galaxy, but we understand one universal truth. Sometimes the simplest solutions are the most effective. The victory was significant, but Chen knew it was just the beginning. The Void Hunters were part of a larger force, and their destruction would not go unnoticed. But humanity had proven once again that technological advancement wasn't everything. Sometimes, understanding the basics, like how to turn an enemy's strength into a weakness, was more powerful than any advanced technology. As she looked out at the stars, Chen wondered what other challenges awaited them in the vast darkness of space. But for the first time, she was confident that humanity, with its unique perspective and adaptability, was ready to face them. Echoes of victory. The destruction of the Void Hunter base had consequences that rippled across the galaxy. Within weeks, massive void ships began appearing at the edges of the solar system, their very presence distorting the fabric of space-time. The main invasion force had arrived. Captain Chen stood on the Hawking's bridge, watching the tactical display as hundreds of Allied ships took position around Earth. The Lycerin had called in their entire defense fleet, and humanity had armed every vessel they could with hybrid quantum technology. But would it be enough? "They're transmitting," Lieutenant Park announced, his voice tight. A figure materialized in the center of the bridge, a Void Hunter commander, its form constantly shifting between dimensions. When it spoke, its words seemed to echo from multiple realities at once. "Your species has become an anomaly," it declared. "You adapt too quickly, change too fast. Your existence threatens the natural order of dimensional evolution. You will be eliminated." Chen stepped forward. "We've heard that before. Every challenge humanity has faced, every force that's tried to destroy us, they've all said the same thing. We're too unpredictable, too dangerous. But that's exactly why we survive." The Void Hunter's form flickered. "Your primitive understanding is irrelevant. We have cleansed thousands of worlds. You will be no different." The transmission cut off, and the void ships began their advance. But humanity and their allies were ready with a plan that only humans would have conceived. Maya's voice came over the comm from engineering. "Captain, the quantum network is ready. Every ship in the fleet is linked." What they had created was unprecedented. A vast web of quantum fields connecting every human and Lycerin vessel. The void ships fired their first salvo, beams of energy that existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously. But instead of hitting their targets, the attacks encountered something new. "Quantum web holding," Maya reported, "beginning dimensional cascade." The web didn't just deflect the attacks, it captured their energy, feeding it back into itself. Each void ship that fired found its energy absorbed and redirected, strengthening the very defense they were trying to break. "They're adapting," Williams warned, "changing their attack pattern." The void ships began shifting through dimensions more rapidly, trying to find a phase that would penetrate the quantum web. But this was exactly what humanity had predicted they would do. "Execute Operation Looking Glass," Chen ordered. Across the fleet, modified quantum generators activated. Instead of trying to attack the void ships directly, they created dimensional reflections, mirror images that showed the void ships themselves in every phase they shifted to. The Void Hunters found themselves fighting their own reflections, unable to distinguish real targets from quantum echoes. "Their formation is breaking down," Park reported. "They're losing dimensional coherence." The Void Hunters' greatest strength, their ability to exist in multiple dimensions, had become their weakness. The quantum web wasn't just defending against their attacks, It was using their own power to create a feedback loop that trapped them in a maze of dimensional reflections. Now, Chen commanded, all ships, execute final phase. The Allied fleet launched their attack. Quantum-enhanced weapons fired from every angle, each shot amplified by the energy the void ships themselves had fed into the web. The results were devastating. Void ships began to collapse in on themselves, their dimensional shifting technology turning against them. In engineering, Maya watched the energy readings with a mix of awe and satisfaction. It's working better than we predicted. The quantum web is actually learning, adapting to each new strategy they try. Because it's not just technology, Nexus observed, his form shimmering with excitement. It's technology guided by human intuition. Every ship captain is making independent decisions, creating patterns the Void Hunters can't predict. The battle raged for hours, but the outcome was becoming clear. The Void ships, for all their advanced technology, couldn't cope with an enemy that turned their own power against them while fighting in ways that defied their dimensional calculations. The Void Hunter commander appeared one final time on the Hawking's bridge. Impossible, it declared. Your species, you alter probability itself. You change the rules of reality. No, Chen corrected. We just refuse to accept that rules can't be changed. That's what your kind never understood. The universe isn't about maintaining order. It's about adaptation, evolution, and the courage to try the impossible. The remaining void ships began to retreat, their dimensional shifting becoming erratic as they fled. But they left behind something unexpected: data transmissions, vast archives of their technological knowledge. They're surrendering, Williams asked incredulously. No, Chen realized. They're acknowledging us. In their own way, they're admitting that humanity has earned its place among the stars. In the weeks that followed, the alliance between humanity and the Lissaran grew stronger. The recovered Void Hunter technology offered insights into dimensions they had never imagined, but it was humanity's unique approach to using this knowledge that proved most valuable. Your species continues to amaze us, Nexus told Chen as they watched Earth's first dimensional research facility being constructed. You took technology that was meant to destroy you and turned it into a tool for exploration. Chen smiled. That's what humans do. We adapt, we learn, and we grow. Every challenge makes us stronger. Every victory teaches us something new. And now we have the whole universe to explore. As she looked out at the stars, Chen knew this was just the beginning. Humanity had proven itself not just capable of surviving among the stars, but of thriving there. They had faced the ultimate test, a force that had destroyed countless civilizations, and emerged victorious not through superior technology, but through the uniquely human traits of adaptability, creativity, and determination. The galaxy would never be the same, and humanity was ready for whatever challenges awaited them in the vast frontier of space.